I never thought my life would be the kind of story you read about in a seedy forum or whispered between neighbors over coffee. But here I am, typing this out because I need some way to process the chaos that has unraveled in the past few months. My name is Eric. I'm 34. My wife, Jenna, is 31. We've been married for 7 years, together for 10. For the most part, we had what you'd call a good marriage. Comfortable, predictable, full of the small rituals that build a life together. Saturday morning pancakes, Netflix marathons on rainy nights, quick kisses before work. We didn't fight much. At least, not until recently. I guess that's where this all starts. About a year ago, something shifted between us. I can't pinpoint the exact moment, but I started feeling like I was living with a ghost. Jenna became distracted, distant. Some days, she was short-tempered. Other days she seemed sad. Like her smile didn't reach her eyes anymore. I chalked it up to stress. Her job at the marketing agency had been demanding lately, and I'd been working longer hours myself. We kept telling each other it was just a phase. We'd reconnect soon. But soon never came. Then came the deliveries. Our old water cooler had broken down, and instead of replacing it with a store-bought model, Jenna insisted on signing up for one of those fancy home water delivery services. Better water, less hassle, she'd said. I hadn't thought much of it at the time. The first time I saw the new delivery guy, I didn't think twice. He was just another working stiff, a guy maybe a few years younger than me, with shaggy hair, a lean build, and a kind of easy confidence about him. His name, according to the stitched patch on his shirt, was Ryan. At first, the visits were normal. Drop off the bottles, quick hello, gone in a flash. But then the schedule started to shift. I'd come home early from work some days, and find the water already delivered, but the bottles would be left in strange spots. Sometimes the back door was unlocked, which Jenna always swore she hadn't noticed. Then one afternoon, about 2 months ago, I came home unexpectedly when a meeting got canceled. As I walked up the driveway, I noticed Jenna's car was still in the garage. Odd, since she'd texted earlier saying she had a late meeting. The front door was ajar. A faint thump echoed from inside. My stomach nodded as I quietly pushed it open. I followed the sounds, soft, rhythmic creaks coming from the direction of the kitchen and family room. I crept toward the noise, heart pounding in my ears, until I reached the threshold. And there she was, my wife, bent slightly over the kitchen island. Ryan standing behind her, gripping her hips like his life depended on it. For a moment, I couldn't move, couldn't breathe. The woman I had loved for the better part of a decade, my partner, my best friend, was moaning softly under the weight of another man. I must have made some kind of noise, because Jenna turned mid-motion, eyes widening in horror. She pushed Ryan away and scrambled to pull her clothes together. "Eric, oh my God, this isn't what it looks like," she stammered. But it was. It was exactly what it looked like. Ryan, the bastard, had the gall to straighten up, zip his pants, and mumble some half-hearted apology before grabbing his delivery bag and bolting out the back door. I barely noticed him leave. My entire focus was locked on Jenna. She burst into tears immediately, sinking to the floor in a heap. "I didn't mean for this to happen," she kept saying over and over. I was so lonely. I needed to feel wanted again." I didn't say a word. I couldn't. I stood there, trembling with adrenaline and heartbreak, until my knees threatened to give out. Finally, I turned and walked upstairs, locked the bedroom door, sat on the edge of the bed staring at the floor. The next few days were a blur. I barely ate, barely slept. Jenna tried to talk to me, begged me to listen, claimed it had only been going on for a few weeks, that it was a mistake, a weakness, a stupid impulse. She swore she still loved me. But those images kept flashing in my mind, the way her body had moved against his, the sound she'd made, the look of raw desire in her eyes that I hadn't seen in years. And all for some water delivery guy she barely knew. I started questioning everything. Our marriage. My worth. Whether I'd been a fool all along. And yet, part of me still wasn't ready to walk away. How could I, after everything we'd built together? That's where I was, trapped in this limbo of pain and uncertainty, when something happened that made the entire situation spiral even further out of control. But that's a story for another part. In the days that followed that afternoon, our house became a kind of silent battlefield. Jenna moved around with this heavy, haunted look, constantly watching me like I might shatter at any moment. She texted me while I was at work. Left handwritten notes on the counter. But every word just deepened the ache. The truth was, I didn't know what I wanted. Divorce? Maybe? Forgiveness? I wasn't sure I had it in me. All I knew was that everything I thought I could count on had been yanked out from under me. And then came the twist I never saw coming. A week after I caught them, I was leaving work late when my phone buzzed. Unknown number. Normally, I would have ignored it, but something made me answer. "Eric?" a male voice asked, low and tense. "Who is this?" "It's Ryan." I gripped the steering wheel tighter. My jaw clenched. "Why are you calling me?" "I need to talk to you. In person." I almost hung up. The last thing I wanted was to hear his voice, let alone see him. But curiosity, or maybe the part of me that needed answers, won out. "Fine. Where?" We met in a coffee shop halfway across town, neutral ground. I got there early, ordered a black coffee, and sat in a corner, hard hammering. When he walked in, I barely recognized him. The cocky delivery guy was gone. This Ryan looked nervous. Sweaty palms. Eyes darting. He sat down across from me. "Look, I know I've got no right to even ask for this, but hear me out." I said nothing. He ran a hand through his hair. "I didn't know Jenna was married at first. She never wore a ring when I saw her during deliveries. The flirting started small, you know? At first, it was just harmless conversation. Then one day she asked me if I could bring the bottles inside, and it just kept going from there." I stared him down. "And that led to you sleeping with her in my kitchen?" His face reddened. "I'm not proud of it. When I found out you existed, I tried to back off. I told her we should stop. But she—" he swallowed. "She said she needed me. That you weren't the same anymore. That she felt invisible in her own house." I felt like I'd been punched in the chest. I thought of all the nights I'd come home late, too exhausted to do more than collapse on the couch. The weekends where I'd buried myself in work emails instead of holding her close. God help me, I had made her lonely. But none of it justified this. Ryan leaned in. "I'm not calling because I want anything from her. I ended it. I just thought you deserved to know the whole story." I left without another word. That night, Jenna was waiting for me in the living room. She looked so small, sitting there with red-rimmed eyes and trembling hands. "I know he called you," she whispered. I nodded. She stood and walked over. "Eric, please. I never meant for any of this to happen. I was drowning. You were always gone, always tired. I missed us. I missed you. I know that's not an excuse, but it's the truth." I sat down, my limbs leaden. "Why didn't you tell me you felt that way?" "Because I thought it would pass. I thought if I just waited you'd come back to me." Tears spilled down her cheeks. "But I made it worse. I destroyed us." The thing about betrayal is, it's not just the act, it's the ripple effect. It makes you doubt every moment before it. Were the smiles real? The laughter? The whispered I love yous? I didn't sleep that night. Instead, I lay awake staring at the ceiling, wrestling with everything. In the morning, I told Jenna I needed space. I'm going to stay at my brother's for a while, I said. I need time to figure out if there's anything left to save. She nodded, sobbing quietly. I'll wait. As long as it takes. It's been 3 months since I packed that overnight bag. In that time, I've started therapy, alone for now. I'm trying to rebuild me before I even consider rebuilding us. Some days I feel hopeful. Others, bitter and cold. I haven't made a final decision yet. Jenna's been respectful, giving me the space I asked for. But I know no matter what happens, our marriage will never be the same. I don't know if I can forgive her. I don't know if I want to. But I do know this. Sometimes it's the cracks in a marriage that let the darkness seep in. And sometimes it's the cracks that let the light through, if you're brave enough to face it.